Hello, and welcome to episode 19 of Rewind with Ro. I am your host, Ro Carter, and I have my fabulous, always right co-host, Rob. This guy is going to be smiling all night. He's going to be a hot mess. We'll see what happens.
I'll do what I can. I told you
you're going to say it a minute. I told you. Anyway, happy 4th to everyone who had a safe 4th of July. How was your 4th, Rob? You do anything? You just chilled? How was the weather out in LA?
The weather was great. It was actually nice and sunny and warm, but I didn't do much because I booked a play, making
money. It's getting jobs.
Yeah, so I booked this play, but it's only running for 2 days next Saturday and Sunday. So I literally have a week and a half to learn the whole thing.
Are you a main?
Yeah, I'm the lead. It's me and one other lead.
1 week to learn like a whole play.
Yeah, so I didn't do much. I spent the day working.
What's your secret to remembering your lines?
There's a few tricks. Well, not tricks. One is a muscle. So because I do it so often, I kind of have gotten accustomed to the work. And also, if you understand what you're doing and what your intention is as you go through the script, it becomes easier to like connect to the text. But there are little tricks that you can use. Like my acting coach will probably kill me if I tell this trick, but it's not his, method. But if you write down the first letter of each word that you have to say, your brain remembers patterns better than it remembers words. So it'll you'll associate that letter with the word, and that process actually helps too.
We learned that you can't tell Rob any secrets. All right. The weather up here was awful. East Coast was just pouring rain. In Boston, it was the worst 4th of July I probably ever had in the career of my life. Just nothing. So I just chilled, hung out with the dog, hung out with wifey, just relaxed. So got some needed rest. But now the sun is out. It's a scorcher up here. It's hot. It's humid. It's just disgusting now. So, I mean, you can't win. So anyway, but I did have a burger, though. I made sure I had a burger and barbecue. I barbecued that. I just cooked the burger.
Nice. I mean, I if I was still eating beef, and I'm not one of those people who's like, I can't believe you eat beef, but I would have had a burger and a hot dog. But
there you go. You can't please everybody. All right. Moving right along. We're going to do a quick, just hot topics this week. It was 4th of July weekend, so you know what happened. The celebrities are out. Out in the Hamptons, Mark Rubin had a celeb party, white on white. I mean, everybody who was anybody was at this party acting a fool. Kevin Hart was acting a fool as usual when he has fun, always plugging his stuff. But for the people that aren't on that level, but still with the streets, shout out to Little Duval down in Jacksonville. He still we're back. Robbie frozen?
All right. You're frozen.
Okay, now I'm good?
Yeah, you're a little fuzzy, but we can see you.
Sorry, we went out in 2 seconds. But
you stopped at Little Duval. So
yeah. So Little Duval has a party every year for all those people down in Jacksonville. They love him. And his one thing is, listen, I'll do the party every year. Free food, bring your own drinks, have a good time. I'll supply the music. But as soon as any stupid stuff happens, goes down, gun stuff, it's over.
Mm-mm.
So every year it's peaceful, and it's just great to see our people just have fun and just be themselves and just see every level of it. It's just like, all right, having a good time. Last thing I'll say on that, little cocaine was spotted in the White House. We don't know whose it is. I don't even know how that happens. And then it made me think, Rob, you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, I'm like, are they really trying to make this a conversation?
Have a closet with like just drugs?
Like, is this really what we're talking about? They just really want to just throw anything. Who cares?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God. Like all of them aren't doing cocaine and having sex parties like they already announced that they were having anyway. Like, come on, just get over it. Let's stop trying to find more things to divert people's attention from.
That's when you know it's bad, when you got to bring up stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like y'all out here taking away people's right to vote, people's right to have access to an abortion, and taking away all the rights that have been granted to people in America. And this is where we want to place our focus. Please, people, you're not diverting my attention in some sly attempt.
There you go.
Keep it pushing.
That's it. Yeah, just quick, nice and easy. Nothing too crazy. I'm gonna do one more episode of Rob Will Do It. One more. I want to end on an even note. 20. Do 20. So next week will be our last one. There's actually a good movie out. There's the Virgo film that's out as well. I want to see that, so we'll talk about it. I'm gonna go from there. So tonight we are doing Hijack with Idris Elba on the screen. Oh, Idris doing his thing. And then the last episode of Idol, which I will love for Rob to introduce the Idol and everything about that, because Rob, he even did. Oh, look at that, put the light on. So Rob, it's your pick because it's your world, player. What we doing? You want to do Hijack first? Or you want to save the best for last?
We can do Hijack first, and then we can go into the story of I'm Right.
Oh God. For anybody paying attention right here, I have a little ascot on for the kids. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be, that's what I do here. Just add a little flavor to it. Should
I drop my address here for my wine, or
you let me know? You know what he did. What it is. So anyway, Hijack is a new show on Apple TV, produced by one of the producers is Idris Elba, which is huge for him. This brother is just doing everything he can. This show, before I go into what show's about, it made me even like cheer for him even more to be Bond, even though I know he doesn't want to do anymore, and everybody's like, oh, I'm annoyed with it. But he was just able to do so many levels, especially limited on a plane. So we'll get into that. But Hijack is now on Apple TV. It's 7 episodes because it basically takes 7 hours to get from Dubai to London. And so when flight KA-29 is hijacked during its 7-hour journey from Dubai to London, corporate negotiator Sam Nelson, played by Idris Elba, tries to use his negotiating skills to save everyone on board. Whoa, it's a lot going on there. So when I go into this show, I'm like, okay, it's Idris, I'm already in. But now I'm like a negotiator, like what level of negotiation? And then when I read corporate, I'm like, corporate? You're dealing with hijackers, man. You better get your corporate ass out of here, something. So what do you think at first? And then we'll get into it in a minute. But what do you think at first is, hey, Idris is having a new one. He's going to be a producer, Apple TV. It seems right? Apple TV, movie on a plane, and Idris Elba. What could go wrong, right?
What can go wrong? And of course, first I'm going to start with a shameless plug for myself because why not? But I got to be a part of a web series that was executive produced by Idris Elba. It was called Milk and Honey, and it was some lovely young black female filmmakers and a really close friends of mine created the project. Jeanette, Asha, Adia. It was phenomenal. Wish it would have gone further, but it was produced by Idris and it starred Debbie Allen, Boris Kojo, Lance Gross. It was an all-star cast, and then they had me in it. But my shameless plug is Idris called me and told me that I was an amazing actor, and he actually wrote me into the show more. So I just want to put that out there. And every time I run into him, I remind him of that. And I think it's starting to annoy him. But I just wanted to give that shameless plug to myself. But this show, I was really excited going into it. One, because anything with action and guns and Idris Elba is going to be exciting. So you can't go wrong.
That Lion movie, I don't know. Anyway.
I actually enjoyed that too. He got ate up a little too much.
I want him in the movie theater. I'm just saying. At home, yes.
I did it at home. I didn't go to the movie theater to see that beast.
Exactly. And anyway, so right now there's 3 episodes that are out. I love it. One, because it's only 7 episodes because it takes 7 hours. So basically, Idris' character gets on this plane. He's going to visit his wife, which is no longer his wife anymore, as we find out. And she's kind of moved on, but he hasn't. And he senses that something's going on in the plane before it goes down. He kind of just looks around the room and he sees something's not right here. And he figures, hey, what's going on here? Something's going to happen later. In doing so, we slowly get introduced to the characters. his family side, which is on the ground. Most of the times when you do a film like this, it's always everything's in the plane, and then maybe you have the control tower that kind of goes to, hey, we can see the plane. But I love there's so many levels to it. It's like its own story where you're dealing with the family and friends of people that work for the TSA. You see behind the scenes there how planes fly and their patterns, and they can see if something's going wrong or not just by like a hair, which is crazy to me. Now I think you're giving secrets away, which I think for a hijacker is like, oh, thank you. You know?
I mean, I don't know if this is real.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's all the conversation. But you really think about it nowadays, rest in peace, everyone from 9/11. But, you heard about the one plane that was going to the Pentagon and the people on board, they fought back. And so you also see that those people on this plane, they're like, listen, we're not letting this happen. Let's rock and roll. And so I was thinking about this. So many things and ideas came to my head. It was like, in this day and time, can you hijack a plane? Without people being like, yo, I feel like I can stop somebody, right? Everybody's brave now, right? Back in the day, it was like, I won't sit my ass down and shut up. But now everybody's talking a good game. And you also see the characters. Idris is trying to also get home safe to his family. But also he's manipulating everybody on the plane. So you don't know what side he's on. And sometimes you're like, it's frustrating. There's a couple of scenes, I don't want to give it away. Be like, bro, you could have ended this movie right now. Come on, man. So tell me what you thought, things you liked, things you're looking forward to, and then maybe we'll discuss that last episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And I forgot to say Dana earlier about the lovely ladies who created that project. But what I really, Rose gonna kill me. What I really loved about the show was that we started to follow each of the other individuals who are involved in either being on the plane. So we're starting to learn like each other people's stories who are on the plane, and also the people on the ground who are like either ignorant and bad at their job, and the people who actually were attentive and saw that something was wrong. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but I was like, I was so mad about one person who we lost already in episode 1, because I was like, man, you are
your role, and I was looking forward to that, but they're like, nope.
Yeah, they're like, no.
and word of advice, when someone says we're professional cleaners, you run.
Leave. Turn around. Don't go upstairs. Like, leave.
Right?
Yeah, so,
bye.
Yeah, so I've already gotten invested in a lot of those storylines. I love the group of young girls who are like athletes who kind of spark the whole process of us discovering what's going on the plane. And then the couple that's in the row behind Idris, behind his character. So, and then the guy who sits next to him, who wants to be a hero, but he's actually a coward. So it's just like,
I'm a coward. He's just like, hey man, it's not my pace.
He's like, okay, this is our moment. Let's get up and do it. He was like, no.
Yes, there are people in different levels, right? I give ideas. You're the one who does the work. You know that?
Don't give ideas that's going to get everybody on the plane killed if you're not ready to jump into action.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you all talking crap until you get popped in the face, right?
That's true.
That's true. All tough guys, you get punched in the face, like, ooh.
Exactly.
Right. And then, so there's some scenes with Idris, and I'm like, oh my God, like you get frustrated with his character, but then you kind of understand, like, listen, what would you do, right? I want to do everything at the end of the day so that we get home safe. Because we've learned from 9/11, we heard later, they'll shoot the plane down, right? If they know they're going to use it as a weapon. So the only frustrating part, I will say, only negative thing, I still don't know what their point is. What do the negotiators want? And so you're so, the intensity is over and over and over, but you're like, not that you're overwhelmed, but at the point you're like, come on, man, tell me what they want. At some point I need to know. But it's so exhilarating. You're just like, oh man, this is great. A lot of action. It reminds me of Passionate 57 meets, all those other plane movies,
yeah.
but it's a lot smoother because they go to the ground and then there and back and forth. So you really kind of learn how planes work and signals and stuff like that. Also, we find out that the pilot is in a relationship with one of the stewardess, and that was crazy to me. You're like, how do you get in the cabin in this day and age? And they kind of manipulate the captain. And so that was a cool part. So there's so many different levels and intricacies to this show that I really love. And it's the way they've kind of laid it out compared to Idol. It's really smooth. I gotta throw jabs now. I gotta throw jabs for you.
Of course, you want to throw jabs now.
But
I kind of like the fact that they're withholding because truly the hijackers, I don't even think they really know what's going on, because we kind of see them starting to have now interaction with the people who are like planning this whole thing, which nobody knows what it is yet. Which of course I literally on the last minute of this last episode, I was like, you're not going to tell us what happened, really? We have to wait a whole week to find out what just happened. But I have I think I know who was the circumstance of that unfortunate situation. I have my estimation.
Okay.
But I would love would that be a spoiler if we say who we think it is? We don't have to say what happened.
I think it's one of the hijackers.
I think it's the flight attendant, the Asian guy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that would be oh wow, that's like nobody. All right. But I think it's the other hijacker because he was getting annoyed with him earlier. And just patience with somebody is like, hey, get one guy out of that to show on business. So if you take out one of your own, and then it's like, hey, I'll take anybody out, right? I think that has a because everybody's acting a fool right now. The young daughter, which can't control her whatsoever. I don't know how.
I know, like what is
right? Listen, let me tell you something. You know,
but there's one person like that on every flight.
Well, what I love is like everything you hate about a person on a flight and things you love about people on a flight, you see on this plane.
Yes.
Everybody's represented. Old, young, Middle Eastern, Black, white, Asian, kids. It's everybody's represented on this plane. So it's like, okay, how do we get along? How do we work out? What are the things we don't like about people? But what happens, when everything hits the wall? Are we going to be, a team? How do we work together? And so you see that, and especially even though there's a class system on the plane, you see those classes work together to get to the same goal, right? Mm-hmm. So if you really want to dig deep, there's a lot of messages there. But anyway, anything you want to add to that, Rob?
Yeah, I like that. I don't know if I want to say I like it yet, but the first episode, I know we got like a lot of the details of what was going to take place on the flight. We don't have too many details, but we knew who some of the key players were going to be involved in the process of like discovering what's going on the plane. So we started to learn that. And we also got to meet all of the people on the ground who were, like I said earlier, either incompetent at their jobs or who were like super thorough. Cause I love that the one woman came to work and she's like, y'all really sat here and didn't recognize that this is all a problem. And everybody's like, oh, and she's like, no, there's a problem here. Like the pattern of what's going on is problematic. And even to this last episode, when the woman goes to tell everyone, in government, like there's essentially a problem with this passenger plane, and the guy at the table was just like, really? And then as they started to play the facts out, he's like, oh God, there's a problem. So I just love like the way that they're really showing like the various like temperature of each person in the room, and on the plane. So it's been a really good journey so far for me. But I think the second episode was like a lot of story building, so it was a little bit slower. So I'm glad that now we're at the point with episode 4 where episode 3 where we're starting to see a lot of the action unfold, and episode 4 is about to go crazy.
Yeah, because one, they do something, they take a couple people out in the first one, and then after that, you don't see, now it's more dialogue. So now you get into action again. Like, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
so I kind of like that balance. It's very an even kill that kind of keeps the show afloat and keep it going. Idris isn't over the top, and I love, even though he's a producer and it's Idris Elba, it's not always about Idris in this, right?
Yeah.
You're getting just enough, right? Just enough, like, oh, what's going on with Idris, but not like the point, like, I need more and more and more. So I kind of love how everybody, solid cast. So whoever did the casting here did a great job. The range also of the terrorists, right? You have a female, you have an older guy, a younger guy, a guy of color, so you kind of feel for everybody, trying to understand like what's going on here. Like it's a weird team that they put together, and
they all seem so unexperienced.
Yeah, right. It's like, what's going on? But I kind of like that too, because how do you spread everybody out throughout the plane, right? You want to see who knows what's going on, and everybody looks totally different. And you would kind of like, oh, I could talk to this guy, I could talk to this person, and so that's how you kind of feel what's going on, and that's how they discover that thing earlier in the first episode. So
yeah,
I don't give anything away, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend to check out Hijack on Apple TV. It's really a good show. Really good show. I'm excited for episode 4 next week. And if you haven't seen it right now, you got 3 episodes. So that's pretty good.
Which is good. They could do a little 3-episode marathon. Yeah, that'll be good.
I give you 2 off the bat now. I would love to do an interview with new producers now and ask them, like, or even not even producers, actors now that are like the big ticket for it. Like, hey, do you like it? They're pitching you with 2 and then it's 1 every week, or do you like the old school where you're Netflix and you get it all at once? Right? I would love to feel like what I know as a business, like this one works better for us. But if you're not as a business, just to, hey, I get a check. But for me, I like it when everybody can just go through it and then I'm hot for like what, 2-3 weeks versus like if I have two episodes and then the other ones suck, like what no one cares about the show anymore, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, they kind of hooked us in with those first 2 episodes. So now we're on the journey.
There we go. Moving right along. Coming up next, I will let Rob go into this, but this is the last episode of The Idol. This show has been ripped apart, destroyed, thrown back out. They even took an episode out, which I will go into later. But Rob, tell us what this episode's about and tell us what you think.
Yes, this episode is the unveiling of what was really going on underneath it all this entire time. And this entire time, there was a hidden villain. And that hidden villain, I don't want to ruin it. Maybe we shouldn't spoil it for people who haven't watched it yet, but
then you're not going to get your point and you don't get your one.
I know I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, but we get to see the breakdown of the person in the room who we all thought was the bad guy, but the bad guy was being manipulated by somebody who was a little better than them. So I thought this was an appropriate culmination of events for this show. I actually really enjoyed it, and I don't understand why people are being so critical of this show. I think it was beautifully shot. One, I think that the performances were phenomenal. I think everyone who they cast was also not only vocally talented as an artist, but they were also extremely talented as actors. It was a wonderful
one. I'm getting a lot. People are hating on me. People are texting me to like, listen, man, The Weeknd has no business acting. And I honestly, you really showed his range here.
Yeah.
If you had any doubts about him, this last episode, when you see him become humble as a character that was all over the place, I was like, wow, that's some range. I don't care what anybody says, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? For all the haters and Jocelyn's amazing. I mean, everybody else is great, but I mean, I think he's the main one who hasn't acted before, and so, besides doing music videos and stuff like that. But now you're seeing him in a different light. Would you greenlight him again? Would you cast him again?
Absolutely. I thought he did a phenomenal job as an actor. And for all the people out there who are like hating on him, one, I think I didn't want to see him in a sexualized position that much. It just was a little bit strange for me. But from an acting perspective, I thought he held his weight, especially in a room full of people who were extremely skilled at what they were doing. I thought he did a great job. And I thought he really owned that character. And he owned him when he was dark, and he owned him when he was broken. So I think he did a phenomenal job. I'm definitely not going to ride the train of he was bad, because I disagree. I highly disagree.
All right. What were your highlights from this episode?
Highlights from this episode.
The season finale, most shows, even if they don't get picked up the next season, they have at least, they know, hey, this is what's going to happen. So let's give you a good final episode. Did you feel the episode did justice to the show, or were you missing something?
Okay. And I think we talked about this with Swarm, which I thought everything leading up to the last moment was great. And then the last moment was the dumbest choice that they could have possibly made. So it's one of those moments, because if you create a circumstance in a film or a TV series where the characters are learning something, or they have to learn something, and then you don't get that buy-in at the end, you feel cheated in a way, I would say. But I love the jam session. I thought that was great, because it gave us an opportunity to see her strength and her like manipulation fully in at work, and we got to see the breakdown of him, who was this pimp who thought he was like, you know, the best shit since sliced bread, but it turns out that he got played. And I really enjoyed seeing that dynamic. What I didn't like was that all of the people who deserved some kind of payoff in the end didn't get it, and then the people who didn't deserve a payoff in the end received it. So it just kind of was like a fail for the experience as a viewer. Like her best friend, for example, who is this entire time, I guess there's some truth and some reality in that circumstance. Like the best friend who's this entire time has been like trying to like be a good person in the circumstance, trying to save the situation, trying to take care of her best friend. She still ends up ousted. The ex-boyfriend who did nothing wrong, who didn't deserve to be a pawn in the game, he ends up losing everything. So it's like all these people who were players who understood and were doing the right thing to safeguard her ended up in the end like on the outskirts. And then the people like the Weeknd's character, who kind of, it would have been better if they shot him in the desert and left him for dead. That probably would have been a more exciting ending than what we got.
Damn, bro.
Honestly, I think just like with Swarm, it would have been better if the security guards for the artist who was on the stage shot her in the head. Like that would have been a better payoff for the viewer, because she's been a monster for the whole show. Yeah. And then in the end, she gets what she wants, which doesn't make any sense because they just let a stranger get in the car with her. Like it made no sense. So it was like a weird ending. But for this show, like the monsters still got what they wanted in the end. They just got broken down before they got it. So it didn't make any sense to me. So it would have made more sense if what we expected to happen was her management team was going to like drive him out to the desert and shoot him. Like we thought that was what's going to happen, but it didn't.
Yeah. So going into this episode, the final episode, we kind of see Jocelyn, the mastermind. She wants to get all these artists on board. And then you really see the dynamic of her energy with Tedros change. And she's basically telling him to get out. And just reminding you, just old school New York, like squatters, like they ain't ever leaving you. That boy ain't ever leaving you. Unless you get somebody to physically grab him. I was like, he ain't ever leaving. I don't care what you tell him to leave. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to get him out? So, and he still got that crazy guy there with all the tats, like his shooter. I don't know what that dude's job was doing.
What was his job? Who
knows? He's just, anyway, but so now all her industry people are coming over, and Jocelyn's going to perform for them. But before she performs, and I was losing my mind, I was like, why is she late? Like, girl, be on time. This is the one time to be on time. But I understand there was a reason for that, right? She wanted them to all see the talent they had. And then that one girl, and I can only imagine what the industry is like. She's like, listen, if you need anything, I'll meet you upstairs. The guy, it was a hot mess. He's like, no, I'm fine. Everything's good. But you really get to see the talent of all these kids, and to see, she's like, these are going to be my opening acts. And I want them on tour with me. And then Jocelyn performs and she rips it. And then Tedros is losing his mind. But at the same time, you get to see what Tedros saw in these kids, right? And so that's a skill set to really discover talent. And then you're seeing her team kind of fight with each other about, hey, what are we going to do with this? I don't want to work in the industry anymore because I got to give them a cut. And then the industry people, they're working on the side like, hey, I love what you did here. I really think we can make some money off this. And that was the crazy part about it, right? It's like they treat you like garbage. They don't respect you. But then when they see, oh my God, there's some talent in front of you, like, okay, let's make a deal. Let's make it
work.
And Jane Addams, Nikki Katz, she plays. You could see her on the side talking. And he's like, you a bitch. I hate you. It's like, you really are good. You're smart. I see what you're doing here. And shout out to The Weeknd, because his character was a hot mess at that point. Like, you see him sweating and he's hungover and he's on drugs. He's just a hot mess. She's like,
yeah, remember we talked about that?
Yeah. He won't take his advice and go to sleep. He won't do that. But you really get to see that character development. And then boom, she's like, get out, pay him whatever you want to pay him. Tedros decides, hey, I'm not about that life. We don't know what happens, but he turns down the money. Let me tell you something. Somebody offers you $500,000 tax-free? Tax free?
I don't know if it's tax free. He had to deposit that check.
Check.
You got to deposit it somewhere.
I know, but I'm saying in terms of you're not getting the only tax you got to pay tax on it, but you're not doing both, paying the taxes and paying tax on it. That's what I'm saying. That's tax free, player. You enjoy that money. He should have got $1 million though because of what she was taking from him as well.
Yeah, I would have negotiated the rate.
Yeah, I would have negotiated something, but and then it just goes black, and you don't know what's going to happen to Tedros. You don't see him till later. And so my only critique is that there's a gap. And then we see Jocelyn now doing her tour. And then you see the managers talking about what happened to Tedros. And you don't see. And so there was no development there, right? I was like, well, what happened? It was hearsay or just talking trash behind someone's back. And then you see him later. It was like, this is a hot mess. It just didn't make sense, the whole ending to me. It was very frustrating. But yeah, you were right. Like, yo, she's a manipulative human being, son of a bee, I would say. And so you really get to see the character for what you always said. And I was like, there's no way from the beginning, because the brush thing, like he just realized now that she had a fake brush, like, oh, was the brush meant to be like, oh, and then she gets a new one to remind her? Like, there's some other levels there, but it's just never explained.
Yeah, I think that she was manipulating him from the beginning. So he thought she put him in a position to think that he was empowered. So he didn't see the mistakes because he thought he was in control. And she allowed him to have that control because she's a master manipulator, which I said.
Oh, God. So I will say, Rob, you're right. You're right, Rob.
Thank you.
Jocelyn was always on it from the beginning. She got everybody. To the point her own managing team didn't know this man was coming in late. Like, it was crazy. And then if you have, they ran his name through the mud, like all this stuff they accused him of and what he was, some of the stuff he did do, and you're gonna bring him on stage, like have it make sense.
And that's why I said the ending was bad, because the payoff is in reverse of what is going to make the audience feel fulfilled by an ending. Like, it would have been more rewarding if they got rid of him. Like, that would have been a more fulfilling ending to the viewer. Yeah. But to me, this ending felt disjointed because she just manipulated him and then manipulated her whole team just to have him weak. So it just made no sense. And even to the point, the one thing I did like that she did was, like, when she left the pass for him, she wouldn't use the name Tedros. She made him use his real name, his given name. So it was like she even government name. She even like took it a step further to break him down so that he felt even less than he already was. So it was interesting to watch her manipulation at play. And like you said, she left the brush there on purpose so he would see it. And it was a greater conversation. And even if they would have brought it to that point, I feel like it would have been more of a payoff if he tried to kill her and then was killed by her security. I don't know. It felt less climactic when she just pulls him on stage like, this is my boyfriend. It was just weird.
Yeah, it was off. I wish there was more of a development with her and Xander as well, because they have so much history. They have the longest history together. And to see the music side, but also that friendship. And they were like, it was all settled with the hug. I'm like, wait, what? Like yeah.
She didn't even want to work with him, but it was too late because they had already seen him and were like, oh, wow, he can sing too. What if all these people sing together?
So hold on. Was that her manipulation as well? Or did she really get caught off guard?
She got caught off guard. Tedros manipulated her in that one instance.
She knew, but she didn't really control. And then the other thing I will argue, and you tell me what you think, when her ex gets caught, right, with that scandal, and Leia is trying to tell her, hey, this happened to your ex, and she's like surprised, and my girl was like, nah, she knew. She knew she was in on that. I'm like, I don't think, but she was like, remember though, he cheated on her with a co-star. And I was like, ooh, you think she would do something like that? I was like, babe, look what she's been doing the whole time. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, and so it truly felt like the theme of this movie was do the wrong thing and you'll be rewarded. Like, that was kind of the theme of the show, which is something that when you watch it, it doesn't feel right. So that's why it's like the ending just doesn't make sense. It doesn't jail, and you walk away from it going, I don't know why I don't like that, but okay.
The music, one thing I'll add too, I love the music. So remember Empire? The one thing I loved about Empire is that not only were the singers so talented, but you could download the music on Apple Stream like the next day. And so that was a huge part. I wish there was something like that because there are a couple of songs I like and that they played around with the melodies and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that would be great. And that's how you get really people interactive with the
That would have been great.
Right? Like you missed, I think HBO missed an opportunity. And again, there's definitely some highs and lows in this show. It's sexy, but it's also it gets a little carried away, but it's fun and it's interesting and intriguing to be like, what the hell is going on here? Like, is this what Hollywood really is about? Are these what the young kids are doing now? Has it always been like this? What's going on? And are the younger people really all together that they can just, hey man, I can flip a switch like that? And I'm more scared of somebody like that because normally it takes years to develop. But when you're 22 and you can do that now, shoot, man, you better run. Stop playing. Run far away. Also, what I would do if I was HBO, I would say, hey, we're gonna give that missing episode out in September, and I would give everybody the whole summer to catch up.
That's a good idea too. But they should do that along.
I'm here. 10%.
They should do that along with your idea with the music, because I really did like a lot of the songs from the show. And if they would have released those, like each week, release those songs, that would have been really cool. Maybe they did, and we just don't know where they did it at. But I don't know.
I mean, if we don't know, other people know? I just told people about the Idol. Still, people today still haven't seen the Idol. I was like, have you seen the Idol? What's that? On HBO. What? What's that?
I went to a friend's. They had like a little get together for this was before, it was on the weekend leading up to the 4th of July. And I threw my theory out to the room, and everyone was like, there's no way that's what's happening.
So everybody was on the same page.
Yeah. And here we are.
Collecting everywhere. You going around LA just collecting?
I'm just gonna go around collecting boxes of wine and I don't want like my wine in a plastic bag in a box. I want like a case of bottles, like nice. So I am going around. Everyone owes me, and you were right. I think I should get a T-shirt that says "You were right."
This guy wants a T-shirt now too. He wants a case and he wants a T-shirt. This guy's got a lot of stuff. So when we start the new season, come September, he gonna have everything. He gonna wear it. Give him a captain's hat. He's like, yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm the captain now. Let you start out. All right. Anything you want to add to this? Would you recommend the series? I mean, you're still a fan. I mean, what would you give the last episode? One on your rating scale. And would you recommend the show? And would you like a season 2 if there could be?
I'd recommend the show. Okay. Because again, I think the talent is something to be admired from vocally, the artists who were involved in the acting. I think it was phenomenal, it was superb. I think it was beautifully shot. I do think the ending was dumb. So for that, I'm gonna give the last episode a 5 because a 5 out of 10 because it just didn't make any sense.
Overall series though, what would you give it?
Overall series, because I did, again, great performances, beautifully filmed, interesting story, but I think the theme of the story was a little disjointed and the ending was off. So I'm going to give the series maybe a 5.
Wow. Give him 5s out.
Yeah.
Love it. Give him 5. Man, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. This man rarely gives anything below a 10. It's very rare you see him give anything below a 10.
They missed the mark with story. It just didn't make sense.
It's second time in here.
But yeah. I do like that they had a hidden villain. I really, really love that they had a hidden villain, but I don't like that the theme felt it was like, be a horrible person and you'll win.
I mean, do you feel that Jocelyn's character with her mom was real in terms of like it was abusive? Or was that made up as well?
No, I think
never find out whether or not the only thing. Sorry to cut you off. The only thing I wish is they did a flashback of who her mom was.
I think that was in one of the episodes because I believe her mom was actually cast, and it was someone who's I have to look it up and see who played her mother. But I think there was a moment that was just removed from it. Whatever they deleted, I think it included.
Oh, what's the name was in it? Who died? Ellen DeGeneres' old what's her name? Who died in the car accident?
Played her mom.
Yeah, she's in the bit. If you look at the cast, she's in there. So I don't know if that's what happened and she was going to play her mom.
Possibly.
Anne Heche, is that it?
Possibly. Yeah, I think that is what I was told.
Yeah, so that was it. And that messed up the whole entire thing. So they couldn't do that. But I think that was missing, right? To really know how manipulative she was or is capable of being. Because we just hearing stories about her mom and Xander being tortured is like, yeah, she was a hell of a, she was crazy. She was an awful human being. And so you just hear it's hearsay in a way, or how they're interpreting their feelings. Well, we don't really think for ourselves to make our own picture of it, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think we're left to like piece it together. But from the information they gave us throughout the series, I think her mom was probably an awful person, and she learned from her mom to be an even more awful human being. So her mom probably manipulated her into success and played those puppet strings, but she in turn became that person to the people around her. And I think she used her mother as a scapegoat to get pity from people so that she can manipulate them further. But yeah, so I think her mom was probably equally or slightly less awful than she was.
And what do you do, right? When you don't have, you have your managers, but when you're in such a dark place, can you ever find the light? Like, and again, she put on an incredible show because in episode 2, she like breaks down. I'm like, and that's why I was like, there's no way, Rob. There's no way. And she was a hot mess. And that just scares me because who can you ever trust, right?
Yeah.
Like, right? Your best friend left you. You have a new guy. You're controlling him. So the only people you can trust are the people you can control in your mind, right? But not really, because they don't know if you're going to turn on them the next day, right? You got all these young performers with you, but you can flip at any second, right? So I would love a season 2 to really see how those characters grow with the show and being on tour. It reminded me of watching the show Dave with Little Dicky, and he's like doing a tour in I think like season 3 or season 2, and he goes on tour, and it's like you're seeing the relationships of your friends and how things happen and how things work out. You're like, oh, we're great when we're in one place, but now we're on the road. All this stuff happens. So I think that would have made a great kind of couple of episodes.
I think it would have been worth a season 2. I don't know what happened with the breakdown of this show and why it's been torn apart and canceled and all the things that happened to it. I wish we could get those details, but I would have thoroughly enjoyed a season 2. I just would have hoped they, consider the theme and the story a little bit more. I like also even to the point, she was just so evil, even to the way she did Diane. Like she plucked Diane out of
we left Diane out. So Diane finds out later she gets screwed. And I don't know. I mean, do I owe Diane anything? Because she was setting me up from the get-go.
But no, Diane, I think she was manipulating Diane.
But
so that she could get into the fold.
Is that surprise or not? When she's like, when the other girl tells her, hey, Diane wanted you to come to meet Tedros that night.
She knew that's what she wanted. She was trying to get in. The entire time she was trying to find inspiration to like grow her career to the next place because she felt stagnant and stuck and she wasn't happy with where she was. And I think Diane was an in because Diane was a part of Tedros's crew. And she plucked Diane from there, made Diane one of her dancers, then got Diane to bring her to the club and acted as if she was surprised when she met Tedros.
And that's what's missing again, right? Knowing that relationship, right? It's just thrown out there. It's a lot of stuff just thrown out there and we have to piece it together, which is sometimes it's fun to piece things together. But in this, because it's so dark and so heavy, it's like give us a breath of fresh air every now and then. Like,
yeah, and that's why I was like,
this is great. They met on good terms, then go from there, and then kill me again. It's like,
and then she didn't even want that song. She really wanted nothing to do with that song, and for her to be so manipulative and then destroy Diane's opportunity to like be something was so petty.
Yeah.
It was just like, you don't even want the song. Now you're shelving Diane. Like, what's the point?
Well, everybody, the season finale is out on HBO now. So if you haven't seen it, it's called The Idol. 5 episodes. It was originally supposed to be 6, but they took the last episode away because it just got awful reviews. And again, Rob loves the show, but gave it a 5, which makes no sense if you love the show. But anyway, I don't give shows a 5 that I don't love, but that's not me. That's not me.
I said I love the cinematography, I love the acting, and I loved the vocal capability of all the artists who were in it. But I do think the story was lacking. So there was some redeeming quality. So I don't want to give it a 0 out of 10 because I do think that it was a quality production, but it was missing the core piece, which was like a story that thematically made sense.
That's Rob. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he does. That's what he does. He can either bring you sunshine or bring you gloom. See that fade? See the TV faded out black? That's the other side of Rob. Sometimes I don't know what I'm gonna get. Because sometimes he says, see, there it is again. See? It's like dark Rob or happy Rob. I don't know, sunshine Rob. Anyway, all right.
Everybody can't get a 10.
You know, again. But he gave it a 5. And again, the acting was good, the music was good. Again, I think HBO missed out on some opportunities to really plug this show. ESPN did a lot of cuts, and I think companies nowadays and Disney is owned by ESPN is owned by Disney, and so you're seeing a lot of these big companies do a lot of cuts, and so HBO is at that point now. It's like HBO Max is at the point now. It's like we could just cut shows out. We don't care if it's not gonna, if the viewership isn't there in the first few episodes. I think that's why they do 2 episodes nowadays to get a feel of what we have. And then if we don't have the people, then forget about it. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't like that new kind of business. I'm a little more old school, but I think that's the new kind of
the new normal.
Yeah. And we'll see how that works. I don't know if it makes sense. I would love to get another big producer or somebody on here to talk, who's behind the scenes and like, hey, what's the new format? And is that the new format? Like that, is that the way to go and why they do that? But maybe they don't want to tell anybody because they won't tell me. So we don't know. But anyway, anything else you want to add to the Idol that besides that you're right and you're so smart and you get it?
Yeah, we can add that.
Okay. Everybody, Rob was right again. I'm saying it again on the show. He knew that Jocelyn was an awful human being, and though the episode was awful at the end. We all agree on that. But anyway, honestly,
tears.
It really is a roller coaster ride, and you really see the levels of how cults begin and start, and you can see things. If this is not a sign to see how people kind of work, manipulate each other, and then they label it with like nice words like family, we're a team, working together, we have the same goals. It's like, 2023, come on, people, wake up. So that's my last thing. I mean, I would recommend watching it. I always tell everybody, hey, you got to check it out. Shout out to my boy Mo. He don't like the weekend at all. But I said I still gave him a chance. So hopefully he checked out the last episode. Maybe he changed his mind a little bit, but Mo's stubborn. He's old school. Anyway, thank you all again for tuning in. Had a great time. We're gonna do one more show. This is it. I say this every week. This is it. Number 20 will be the last show, and then we'll take a break for the summer. Come back in September. Unless something crazy, something that we have to do, but we'll talk throughout that. And my co-host will be there in the writing as well. We're gonna do all new fonts and stuff. Maybe even do a new song. Maybe get Rob to rap. I'm Rob.
Hey, I'm down for that.
Yeah, Rob, give us a beat. All right, caught him off guard.
Yeah, not today.
You got no lines, Rob?
No, I don't freestyle.
Okay, all right.
I did have a rap group in high school with Koku, but
what was your rap group name?
I don't want to put it out there because somebody's gonna steal it.
Well, okay, what was your name? Were you just going by Rob in the rap?
I was just Rob. It was me, Koku, and our friend Shauna.
And has it? Well, yeah. So did Shauna? She a singer? She started her own group?
No, Koku was the only one who kind of started going in the music direction.
Did you perform? Didn't you guys perform like in front of people?
No, we just thought we were going to be a rap group.
And where was this at again?
In the burbs of Chicago.
The burbs. Black people in the burbs. Okay. We're gonna be rappers.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna be like, that kind of neo soul inspired common.
Neo soul. Look at that.
Yeah,
I would love if we can get you guys on here and just see if you still have it for one song.
Yeah, let's see about it. Let's ask Coco if she
will get one of your
lines.
Just give me like one of your lines from one of your songs. Give me a bar.
Then it's gonna end up on somebody's album.
What do you got fire like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm done. I'm going to see Boyz II Men tomorrow. I'm so excited. I literally, my girl, she got me tickets like 5 times and we canceled all of them. So we've literally invested in Boyz II Men so much money because you don't get the same value that we've learned in certain cities that when you try to resell. So we've just been giving money to Black people, which is great. So I'm looking forward to seeing them tomorrow in Boston. I don't know what kind of energy that's going to be. I have no idea. I really don't know. But I will be going live. I'll do live and see where I'm at. And I'm down on bended knee. And
I feel like you'll be the only brown in town.
Yeah, maybe. She's going to be judging the crap out of me tomorrow. You know what? Everybody should go to a concert with their significant other who they love and see them for who they really are. You really get to see like them act a fool. And we'll level like, oh, this is you? Okay.
That's what you do?
I remember an ex-girlfriend went to Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, and techno came on in this club, and I just techno danced, but I was doing like kicks and stuff and everything, and like everyone's like, yeah, and she looked at me, she's like, what is that? But again, the crowd was like loving me, but she was like, what are you doing?
You see a concert situation that just went awry yesterday.
Yeah.
How you gonna come from a girl Kiki now?
Hey,
just rock the baby until she get home.
That's it. I mean, can't we all just get along, people?
She looked good. You should have been like, look at my wife, look at my girl.
Stop messing up Happy Homes. Stop messing up Happy Homes.
He should have been like, look at my girl. That's all you should have said. Look at my girl looking beautiful. That's what you should have said on Twitter. And you still have
man. He felt the kind of way.
Feel the kind of way to yourself. Keep it off of Twitter. What's wrong with you? That's a glow up right there. She looks so good. He should have been like, that's mine. That's all he should have said.
Messed up, got all. That's the problem, guys. Insecurity, get all up in your feelings. Mess it up time. And shout out to Genuine again. Tiny Desk, if you haven't seen it, I'm plugging it. Tiny Desk, Genuine killed it. Tiny Desk, if you've ever seen it, NPR, they did a whole Black month. I
think Chloe Bailey is coming up, right? I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, so the whole month of June, and they ended it with Genuine. And I knew Genuine songs, but he has the live band. And when I tell you, I've never seen someone ask for them to sing the song again, and then them going to the crowd. They just had a blast. So not giving it all away, but it was just a fun. Even if you don't like that type of music, trust me, I was like, oh, and they let him say all the words in his song. And I was like, yo, I can't believe on Tiny Desk to let him say this. It was filthy. I was like, oh. No, honestly, I was like, oh God, give me a it was, oh man, it was aggressive. I was like, is he really saying that? Lick and eat it and lick and touch it. And I was like, oh.
Genuine was getting nasty with it.
Anyway, always a good time as usual. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for always being right. Thank you for always being on time. That's never true. But anyway, hey, gotta give you a shot. You had
to give a little dig because I was right.
There you go.
Okay, I'll let you have that one.
Next week, our last show for the summer. We'll have some hot stuff for you. Again, always love comments and suggestions. Thank you again for your time. Always a great time. Have a great night and a great weekend. There he is.